Alright, so someone named Camille said, don't tell your dogs to sit. Don't like be all forceful. Just stand tall and convey what you want without saying anything. And see what happens, and then just, she said, turn around and just start walking and see if they follow you. Well, we'll see. My dogs are very anarchist. They don't really like being told what to do. And they're not very obedient, which is kind of on purpose because we are all anarchist family here. But let's see what happens. This could be... Okay, here we go. Look for Bruce. No. Jerry's not going to do it. Let's see what happens if I just start walking. Alright. It kind of works. There's Ben. Alright, well that experiment worked out fairly well. They actually didn't do much different than when I'm yelling sits at them. So I guess it kind of worked. Jerry didn't sit, but that's very normal. Jerry was our last dog, so we were like, well, we've already trained 4 dogs a little bit on like sits and plats and hops and all the German. We use German to train them, of course. That's the best sort of forceful language. In Spanish, sit is siéntate, which doesn't really work as well as sits. But after having 4 dogs, we were like, Jerry, do whatever you want. So he's completely wild. He doesn't even, when you call his name, he doesn't come. He doesn't sit when you say sit. He's like completely wild. Anyway, so as I get less deprogrammed or more deprogrammed, less brainwashed, just every day I start to see all the brainwashing, like more and more, like every day I see it. And yeah, I think most people don't realize just how brainwashed we are. Like you just think about anything like alcohol, cigarettes, food. We'll get into food a lot. But you know, every movie, every TV show, every social event because of it as well. Something good happened, we're gonna get out the champagne. Something bad happened, oh, you better have a drink, buddy. Better drown your sorrows. This is, you know, you're watching this stuff and being around this since you're a kid when you're very impressionable as well. So this just goes into your brain. You don't even realize it. Jerry, yeah, Jerry. Loco. Jerry. Jerry, yeah. Ben. Ben. Jerry, Ben. And same with cigarettes. You know, it isn't until you really kind of start to see it that you really notice it. But it's everywhere. You know, after sex, you know, sex is supposed to be a good feeling, right? Cigarettes. Oh, I've got problems at work. I'm all stressed out. This goes into your brain. And you don't even realize it. Food's another one. And this is sort of the main topic I wanted to get into, is food. Because I'm coming to the belief that we've been totally lied to on food. That's why everyone's so sick. It's amazing, like when I go up to the US or Canada, it's not so much here in Mexico, although there's a lot of fat people here now because they've been started drinking the Coca-Cola, which is CC, by the way, C's third letter, 33. A lot of stuff is all Mason, satanic sort of stuff. Even Apple Computer, Bill Gates, most everyone who's done really well in the world financially is down with these things. They're basically trying to destroy humanity one way or another for whatever reason. Most of them are satanic, so they believe that, well actually I don't know exactly what they believe. I don't get it. I don't really get it. But anyway, when it comes to food, I think we've been just totally lied to. I think on purpose. Now you could say it just happened all naturally this way, that we ended up eating all this crap. But I think a lot of it was on purpose. Certainly if you look at the medical community, or whatever you want to call them, the evil medical cult, they're just making people sick on purpose. Like maybe the people down below don't understand what they're doing because they're morons. That's why they always want the people who did the best in government school to be doctors, because they will memorize and repeat stuff without thinking. That's what they want. And that's what most doctors are, not all, but most. And yeah, the whole system is set up to make you sick, constantly sick, never to get better, and to eventually die once you're out of money. And that is exactly how it works. Some people, the people who are against capitalism, the sort of commie types, they see some of this stuff and they think it's caused by capitalism. They think it's caused by human greed, which to an extent it is, and it's caused by capitalism. They got this idea, well, that's what capitalism does because corporations are just going to want to make people sick. Yes and no. The free markets are the best thing for humanity by far. They don't necessarily want to get, for example, let's talk about health. A lot of commies will say, well, that's the capitalists that are making everyone sick because all these corporations are constantly getting them sick. Yeah, but you wouldn't have trying to think how to explain this. Well, first of all, you got like 12 years of government indoctrination camps so that people don't think, right? And they're taught like things like the 4 basic food groups in those schools. Not just taught, but indoctrinated. Like taught and education are very skewed words nowadays because of what they actually do to you. And then you have things like Monsanto and all this, which are making everyone sick. But those are only allowed to happen because of government. So my only thing with these people who say that capitalism is really bad, we have to get rid of it. Capitalism is just the free exchange of goods. If they're talking about corporatism, if they're talking about governments protecting corporations, yeah, I'm on your side. Absolutely. I don't think a government should exist. And yeah, they create the environment where things can do this. Things like patents. That's a huge one. So Monsanto, if it was just a private, regular company, couldn't go around and force all the farmers in the world to use its seeds. Farmers would be like, get the hell off my property with all your guns, and people start shooting them, and it'd be over pretty quick. It'd be great. Anarchy's awesome, by the way. Like, it's so cool. Everything just works itself out so fast. But, Dennis! Jerry, Ben? Jerry's so stupid he won't even move with the cars. Yeah, I'll go. Yep. My dogs. Let him in. Lena, Ben. Yep. Gotcha. Yeah. Oh, my dogs. But, what was I just saying? Oh yeah, if like Monsanto came around and they were just like forcing people to use their seeds, people would be like, no. And there's no way they'd get away with it. This wouldn't have the ability. But because of government and patents, which are really evil, you can't force people not to use your ideas. Sorry, can't. But that's what government does. So a lot of these commies think it's all caused by capitalism. This word, you know, maybe we should just stop using the word because it's obviously misunderstood. I'm talking about free markets. And in the free markets, you wouldn't have these giant corporations. They'd be totally different. And they wouldn't have the government to be able to enforce their stupid, immoral things like patents. Turn around here. So yeah, I don't know if anyone could pass this along to some commies who, you know, I think if we can get that across to them, we might be able to bridge a little bit of some of the issues. But they won't listen. Communism is so screwed up. It's this sort of like belief that humans should all die and be totally everyone should be poor. It's really weird. And they don't look at evidence, obviously, because every single instance of socialism and communism has ended up that way. Every single instance, including in the US today, where it's very socialist. It's hardly any middle class left. Everyone's getting poor. Everyone's on food stamps. That's exactly what happens. So anyway, for whatever reason, they've been really pushing people to not know what they should be eating, and it's crazy how bad it is. When I first said I was going to be like raw vegan and maybe just eat mostly fruit, I had so many people freak out. Now this is exactly what we should be eating, okay? Like this has been proven so many times to cure almost everything. Like really, I think, I was looking at my dogs this morning, I'm like, man, they lick everything, they eat everything. They don't care. They're never ever sick. Well, I think that's because they're not ingesting garbage like we are. Just like any car, I think, and there's a lot of people who dispute this, but just look at the evidence. I think the mucosaless diet, get that book, is the diet for humans, and it's basically just raw vegetables and fruit, not even cooking food. Is the diet that we're supposed to be on. Just like every animal sort of has a diet. You look at silverback gorillas, super powerful, like unbelievably powerful. All they eat is fruit and some vegetables and some like vegetable matter. It's almost like bark. That's all they eat. But that's what they're supposed to eat. That's what their stomachs were made for. You look at cows, they got like 4 stomachs because they're supposed to eat grass, and it takes a long time to digest grass. That's actually why it's not that great to eat tons and tons of vegetables, because we're not actually made for that. We're actually made to eat just fruit. We don't even have to digest it almost. It just immediately absorbs all the energy, because we're electric beings, into us, and boom, we're good. But when I say, hey, I'm gonna eat mostly fruit, people freaked out like I was gonna die. I don't know if you saw my recent photo. Actually, maybe I'll put it up here. So that's what I look like after a couple months of being basically raw vegan fruitarian. I eat mostly fruit and some vegetables. Not much, and mostly intermittent fasting as well. And some people say, oh, you had those muscles before. No, I didn't. I was really like, I was a fat, skinny guy. I had a gut and not much muscles at all. Like a little bit, but not like that. So, and I get all these people that are like, that's not possible. It's like, well, I did it. Like, I don't know what to tell you, and there's lots of other people who do it as well. There's lots of super ripped vegans out there. So anyway, that's the diet that we're supposed to be on. And no one knows that. And everyone's always sick, and the system will always make you just sicker. So whenever you go to a doctor with like some sort of ailment, some sort of dis-ease, they will actually make it worse every single time. Like I can't think of too many instances where they won't. Even things where you have a infection, they give you antibiotics, that actually makes it worse. You can actually get rid of those things through natural antibiotics. Actually, your body is just toxic. And all they're doing is killing all the bacteria inside of you, including the good stuff, which you really need. So it really makes you way worse. Everything else, it's like they never give you anything that actually fixes the problem. Has no one ever noticed this yet? Has no one noticed all these people with these like fishing tackle boxes full of pills? It just gets worse and worse. Well, you need this because this thing makes that, and side effect. All you need to do is change your diet. That's it. But they don't want you to know that. And like the commies will say, well, that's what capitalism does. No. The free markets does not do that. The control of a lot of things, which is given and held through control of the money system, which is the Federal Reserve, central banking, which is a tenet of communism, by the way. Control of the government, so making people do what they want, putting them in 12 years of indoctrination camps and taught nothing, basically, and really dumbed down, and told about the 4 basic food groups, which are not, that was all sponsored by the dairy and meat industry, by the way. It's obvious shit. Like, this is just obvious once you start to figure it out. So, No, it's not caused by free markets. Of course, in the free market, crappy stuff can happen for sure. But it can be sorted out a lot better in the free market. Like I said, Monsanto wouldn't exist in the free market. There wouldn't be government indoctrination camps in the free market, so people be smart. They wouldn't be indoctrinated into thinking there is the 4 basic food groups. Now you could say, okay, what about movies? Yeah. You know, and they put out a lot of the stuff through that in television programming. Well, luckily now we have technology, so you don't have to watch that stuff. So, you know, a lot of people still do. They still don't really know what's going on. That's why I can't watch hardly anything. I see all the brainwashing. It's like I just can't ignore it. And how could I enjoy this movie with 90% of it I can see is programming? Maybe 10% of it's, oh, it's interesting. I don't know, I don't get it. I just can't watch that stuff anymore. Besides, like I said, life is way more interesting than anything, in any movie. And most people waste their entire lives just watching fake people doing fake stuff, going, oh, that was so exciting, that movie. Why don't you go do that yourself? You know, a lot of people will watch The Hunger Games. A lot of people. We're talking tens or hundreds of millions of people will watch it. And actually, I like The Hunger Games. There's a few movies I like. Hunger Games, Matrix, Lord of the Rings, V for Vendetta, and a few others. But that's about it. But they'll watch that and they'll go, yeah, fight the Capitol. And then you'll say, I'm an anarchist. They'll go, oh, gosh, I don't want to hang around you. You're dangerous. It's like, that's what you were just cheering for in that movie. Yeah, but, you know, I just want to cheer for it in the movies. I don't want to actually do anything in my own life. Yeah, wow. Yeah, so many people just waste their lives, which is fine. You know, if that's what you want to do. But you don't have to, and it'd be amazing. They'd be amazed at what would happen if they just got out of their house and did something. But anyway, yeah, it's all brainwashing. So like, think about it. Every movie, every television show, what are they eating? They're definitely not eating raw vegetables and fruit all the time. Like every dinner scene, it's like meat. It just all goes into your head. So this is on purpose. They want us all to be sick. For whatever reason. Very satanic. Maybe it's like they just want to ruin this place because they're so angry with God or whatever. I don't know. I don't really get it. But that's exactly what's happening. So it's total brainwashing, and people just don't realize it. So I see a lot of people. I had one guy on Facebook go, I'm vegetarian, but I don't know if I could be vegan. It's so hard. Is it so hard? It's not that hard. This stuff is not hard. Once you get over the brainwashing, just like I did with the drinking and smoking, once I realized it was brainwashing, just gone. Same thing happened with diet. I didn't even think about it. I was actually started with the fast. Because once you get your body cleared out, then you can listen to your body. It was my second fast. And I was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 days in. And of course you think about food every now and then. And you're like, oh, wish I could eat. It's not like terrible, but you think about it every now and then. And every single time what popped in my head was like a salad. It was all vegetarian. And so I listened to it. I went, wait a sec, I feel so good right now. I'm so clean. I haven't been like this, feeling this good ever. And all I'm thinking about is like salads. Maybe that's what my body needs, right? And right from there, as soon as I went off that fast, I was like, okay, I'm vegetarian now. And a little bit later, I was vegan. And it wasn't much thought, and it definitely wasn't hard. Because the brainwashing has been broken. Now it's still there, like, because that's literally 40 years of brainwashing, right? So it's like we've all grown up in South Korea, if you want to think of it, or not South Korea, that'd be pretty cool. North Korea. It's like we've all grown up in North Korea. That's one way to think about it, right? It's going to be decades for us all to get it all out. Like little Kim is not the best person in the world. North Korea is not the best country. We're not so lucky to be given 2 potatoes per week for our rations. You know, that stuff just, you hear about these people who defect from North Korea to South Korea, a lot of them have a really hard time. They do. Some of them even want to go back. They miss their family, they miss the cult. See, this is all programming. And I get, you know, if you miss your family or whatever, I get that. But, you know, wanting to go back into abject poverty and slavery, it's because of the programming. And a lot of them still, they look around at South Korea because they've been told for 40 years or whatever, how old they are, that that's really evil, what's going on there. They still pretty much think it's evil. You can tell by the way they talk. They're like, yeah, I try not to buy too much stuff. You know, brainwashing. We're all brainwashed. And so we got to get that. The way to get a lot of this out, well, the way it worked for me was psychedelics helped, got me outside of my head so I could think. Because when you're just in your head and you can't get outside your head, you're just so limited. Then once I did that, I started improving my diet, started fasting. Once I did that, I was like so much more able to connect, to think, to listen to my body. Things like that. And all of a sudden, things like smoking and drinking just went away. It was just like gone. And meditation. I don't do a ton of meditation. I need to do more. I don't need to, but I want to do more. Every time I get really good, I think most people do this. Like I've improved so much the last few months. You almost like, well, I don't need to do all this stuff all the time anymore. I'm much better. And it's true. But I know it's so helpful to meditate. And I haven't been doing a ton of it lately. So, but that helped a lot. So those three things. Psychedelics, you don't necessarily need to do the psychedelics. Some people don't have to do them, but it really helped me. I couldn't get out of my own head without it. I was just trapped in this mental prison, and I needed something like to bash it open, and that was ayahuasca and iboga basically, and that bashed it open. And then I was able to go, okay, and then then I moved into the health stuff, and that really cleaned everything up. And that got rid of a lot of toxins, which are actually affecting your brain, your moods. We're all just basically brainwashed robots. We're brainwashed. I just talked about that. We're just completely brainwashed. Goes without saying. But we're also robots because we're not even in control of our own vessel. Our mind is, but that's not us. That's our mind. We actually own that, but it ends up owning us. But then inside our body, a lot of us are just full of toxins and a lot of parasites, which actually protect us from the toxins. So if it gets so toxic, we actually get a ton of parasites, which actually, if we didn't have them, we'd be dead. So in a way, like it's sort of the symbiotic sort of thing until we can get the toxins out. But because of that, and all these studies are coming out now, and I don't care much about scientism because it's almost always wrong information or skewed to some agenda or another. However, I've seen enough that they're all like, yeah, your gut seems to affect your moods. And that's what I found. As soon as I cleaned up my gut, started detoxing, changed my diet, and started fasting, my depression was just gone. And once my depression was gone, then everything was open to me. Because when you're depressed, for people who haven't been depressed, it's so limiting. You just don't want to do anything. You don't want to get out of bed. And now look at me. Every morning, I'm up, I'm going, doing these videos. I do a video like every day. I'm posting on Steam every day. I'm doing like a Dollar Vigilante article every day. I do a Dollar Vigilante video every day. And that's on top of like 10 other things I do all the time. And it's like no problem. Because I'm like not depressed. My body's working well. I've got energy. My creativity is booming because I don't have all these toxins, which are just like slowing you down. And so yeah, those are the three sort of things that really made all the changes to me. And so for people out there, I ran out of memory. That's how many videos I've been doing. So for all the people out there who are like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. That's actually your brainwashing telling you that. You've been told your whole life you can't do stuff. It's also the parasites in your body. For example, like some people say, well, I can't become vegetarian. I love meat too much. You actually don't love meat. You're brainwashed to think you like meat, and the parasites love meat. You are the last person, and you don't need it at all. Yeah. So that's what people need to realize. So don't feel bad, like, oh, I can't. Get over it, and try one of the things that I tried. If you really can't break out of this brainwashing, try some psychedelics. Try ayahuasca. That's it's not very crazy, in my opinion. Iboga's nuts. But yeah, ayahuasca. We do it in Acapulco every year. This is not an advertisement for it. But come down to Acapulco and do it. Or just start to clean up your body, detoxify. What else? Jerry. Or try some meditation. You know, one of those three things will definitely work. And they will all sort of play into each other. They'll all start to... Jerry, yeah. Jerry. Loco. So, if you think psychedelics are too crazy, try meditation. And try changing your diet. Go to a raw vegan diet. If that's way too crazy, take steps. You know, like if everything seems too hard, take steps. Everything I've done has taken about 2 years. And there was times along the way, believe me, where I was like, this is never going to work. Believe me, I was saying that almost all the time, which actually I shouldn't have been saying, because that goes into your subconscious. See, I didn't realize how powerful your conscious and subconscious are. So that was what even took it way longer for me than it should have. So I kept telling myself that it's never going to work. And when you say that, it'll never work. Because you really control your own reality. So start with one of those things. If psychedelics sounds too crazy to you, try meditation. If you can't meditate, and I hear this all the time, my mind's going too fast. That's because you need to meditate. You need to meditate so bad. So if you can't actually meditate because you can't stop your mind at all, then you're going to need to do something else. Either psychedelics or change your diet. Because your diet really affects what you think about. So one of those three. And once you start doing one, you'll probably start doing the others. The one that you might not need to do is psychedelics. Looking back, if I knew everything I know now, and I was somehow able to push myself to do it, I wouldn't have needed to do these psychedelics to get to where I'm at today. But I didn't know that, and I needed the punch in the head, like a really hard one, like 3 times. 2 times with ayahuasca and once with iboga to make me go, yeah, smarten up. So, yeah, just realize we're all brainwashed. You know, I call people all the time brainwashed slaves. And people think like I'm all arrogant as I do it, like as though I'm better than them. No, we're all brainwashed slaves. But I just like to call other people that because they don't even realize it. At least I realize it. So anyway, the dogs are really good today. I don't know, maybe we got a little bit of a... Well, actually, Jerry wasn't that good. Jerry's never that good. The other dogs are usually pretty good, though. But maybe it was because I changed my attitude with them. Let's see what happens as we go back in. Yeah, I don't need to tell you to go back in, do I? You want to go back in. That was a long walk. Let's go. Muy bien, Letta, Jitty, Rango. Muy bien, Lucy. Hey, Bruce. Muy bien, Bruce.